I greet this day with a love in my heart. Welcome to Indian Stock Mind Dynamics. Today, the tip of the day is AC technique. What is it? Angel cocktail techniques. And part 2. Today, being 23rd April 2019, let's make this day worth remembering. This day, 23rd April in 1858, Pandita Rama Bai Saraswati was born in Mysore state they call it. And she was the social reformer, educationist, and fight against all atrocities about women, particularly emancipation, freeing a person from the slavery, emancipation of women. Beautiful. And the next day, what I would like to say is, in 1992, the famous, international fame, in fact, the producer and director Satyajit Ray was passed away, and he was 70, and he is known for many, and he is a Bharat Ratna awardee. And some of his movies was Apurva Samsar and Pater Panchali and Devi was some of the movies to be quoted here. At the same time, 23rd April is commemorated for World Book Day. How many people will read a book? We learn something when you open a book. Do you know that? Whether you read it or not, when you open a book, you learn something. Have a habit of keeping your books with you around. If anybody asks me, how many friends do you have? I say 1852 friends are there. It means it's not a physical friends. I have a author at home. I have more than 2222 books are there precisely, out of which some of the books are repeated by the author, but precisely 1852 authors are sitting at home. And from them, each day or whenever I find, read and reread those classical books to get an ideas. That's a wonderful, I tell you. Only human being can read. So being a book day today, let's build a habit of reading. A book can be a novel, history, fiction, fantasy, or philosophy. It could be biography of any kind, but it all depends upon your taste. You can relist it and meet those particular authors in person inside the mind. You know what happens when you read the statement of an author, we get inspired. It doesn't mean authors trying to inspire you. In fact, he expresses his views to lead an inspiring life. That's what I understood. So when you are reading some statement, your thought is synchronized. And I'm coming to my topics today. Yesterday, continuation of angel cocktails. There is one chemical out of 4 chemicals which I named dopamine. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin. Out of which the first one, dopamine, I'm talking about, which segregates. It produces in the brain. It maintains balanced, and that particular chemical, dopamine, is a self-motivator to you. I tell you, I cannot motivate you. No author can motivate you. Parents cannot motivate you. Friends cannot motivate you. Circumstance cannot motivate you. Only you can motivate. The dopamine is the master inside your brain, can motivate you. So that is the why I've taken this subject and talking to you today also. Now, when I'm talking about the books, I go back to 5th century in Athens city. I'm talking about Socrates, a classical philosopher who brought introduction to the Western ethnic traditional thoughts. And he was prosecuted and convicted to death sentence by drinking what he call poisonous beverage called hemlock. When he was sentenced to death and he was given 3 days, 72 hours to survive inside the prison, and he can go and talk to anybody freely. And he was along with him, his students Plato and Xenophon was there with him. Of course, they are not convicted. Later, these people wrote in a classical play, they depicted Socrates' characters. And Socrates was known for 2 things. One is ugliness. 2 is highly intellectual. The one is ugly. The second aspect which we to remember Socrates, highly intellectual. And now, when he was given 72 hours to survive, he was walking along in the prison and he met a lot of prisoners who have been condemned to sufferings and death. When he was meeting those people, he saw one prisoner was merrily playing an instrument called lyre. Socrates approached him and asked and requested him, "Can you please teach me this instrument how to play?" Of course, our friend, his disciple Plato and Xenophon was shocked. He's going to live only for 72 hours and he wanted to learn that lyre instrument. What is that he's going to establish in his life? Socrates' answer was this: the purpose of life is to learn something or other in. The purpose of life is to learn something in life. To live a prosperous life, you have to learn something. So learn to live, and live to learn is the word. So what I understood is, the man who was supposed to go to die, in spite of that he wants to learn something. For that, the Xenophon is a disciple asked Socrates, what is it you are going to acquire? You know what he said? When we learn something, we live. That means that 72 hours he wants to live. 72 hours he wants to live. So he wants to learn something. And that too, that particular instrument called lyre. So we have plenty of time with us. So let us make our effort to learn something. Then when I'm talking about dopamine, the dopamine is responsible for memory, as I've been telling you. That too, the memory, the information from short-term memory to it shifted to long-term memory. It helps a lot. It's a knowledge converted as a wisdom later. So people say you are a wise man. It doesn't mean that you are knowledgeable. You are converted the knowledge into the wisely things which the world requires. So have that in mind. So today the technique is try to acquire the habit of reading your books. Any sort of books, as I told you, many books I told you, read books anytime. And the reading habit makes you to think very clarity. The thinking process become very clear. And the clarity of thinking can give you good ideas in life. In other words, it creates a creativity. So for the parents, I request buy books, give to your children instead of giving a mobile and making them to play video games in that. Books can give them the ideas. When they utter a word, their thought process, the audio memory increases. They will become a good speaker. They will become a good citizen. They will become a good individual. That's what I come to tell you today. Okay, and reading habit is very important. In simultaneously, one more thing is to be required. As I was telling about Socrates, he wants to learn the instrument called lyre, the beautiful instrument. What does it mean? Even music can induce and creates electric impulses in your brain, and thus produces that neurotransmitter called dopamine. It produces such a way you feel relaxed and you'll feel motivated to write things at the right time. So addition to reading, have a sense of listening to some good music. It could be a song, it could be anything, but it will give you some sort of happiness in you. Such a music is also very good. And if you want, I can recommend one particular instrumental music called Boroki. What is that called? Boroki. It's a Russian language. It's called Boroki. Boroki means relaxation, which was played by our Beethoven. You can go to a classic music system for Beethoven, okay? And a particular music field is called Vivaldi. You can listen to that. It's a wonderful one, okay? And this Boroki is very good for memory. So Boroki, the music, you can read. Lot of good books are around you. Keep that in front of you. Whenever you find at least 8 pages of information, you can read and get the knowledge, convert that knowledge into wisdom and give back to this world. Okay? Last but not the least, reading is conversation. All books speaks, but some good books listens as well, says Haddon. Okay? Thank you for watching. I'll catch you later. May you all be blessed.